absolutely stunning. This is what Lake District cycling really is all about. The Fred Whitton Challenge is arguably one of the hardest and most iconic sportives in the UK. 110 miles around the stunning English Lake District with over 3,000 metres of elevation gain. For an unhinged rider like myself who loves smashing it up steep 1 in 4 climbs, it sounds the perfect event, right? And yes, I agree. So obviously I had to get an entry in for this year's edition. And whilst not a race, I did want to really push myself and try and set a very competitive time, as it is still a timed event. But things didn't go quite to plan, and clearly the organisers were terrified by just how fast I was going to smash it up some of these steep climbs like Hardknott Pass, and unfortunately rejected my entry, which did really suck. But in all seriousness though, it is an extremely popular event that is always massively oversubscribed. So in reality, there's no like ability-based criteria to get in. It is just a pure ballot process. And I was just unfortunately one of the unlucky ones who lost the ballot. But I was not gonna let that stop me. And I spotted a great weather window during the holidays and had to jump on a train up to the Lake District to have my own attempt at the route. At the end of the day, it is all on public roads, so anybody can try this at any time. And of course, because I'm not tied to the official event, I can do it my way. I can improve the official route and even ultimately add more climbing, which, given how much climbing's already in the official route, sounds a pretty remarkable achievement if you ask me. So yeah, after a good night staying at the YHA here in Grasmere, it's time to get kitted up and ready to get out on the bike. So stay tuned and let's get started with my ultimate improved Fred Whitton route that any of you can attempt yourself, regardless of whether you got lucky in the official ballot or not. So the route today kicks off here in the middle of Grasmere, and straight away we're going to notice a little bit of a difference to the official route. So instead of following the usual main road down to Ambleside like the official event does, I get why they go that way because it's such a big event, and to be honest with you, there's going to be huge groups of riders, so they want to go down quite a major road. But instead we're going to head around the back of the lake up Red Bank Road, which is a brutal climb to start the day with your classic Lake District 25% gradients. It's a real good opportunity to wake your legs up and test have you got what it takes for some of the proper stuff later on in the ride. And also, it's just a more pleasant route around the lake, avoiding a lot of the traffic. Just watch out, there's quite a lot of walkers on the road here, as it's the start of the way you'd go if you're walking around the lake. Here we go, low gear now. Time for the proper first wall of the day. Good 25%er. Don't go out too hard here though. You don't want to blow your legs up this early on. 1200 gram wheels though definitely make this a lot nicer of an experience. And the top's only just up there, it's not too far. I've been in your waters. And this is only the warm-up. Climb number 1 done. Well, that was a nice little kick to wake the legs up. Bit of a punch in the face there, really. Now for a stunning descent down to Ambleside. Wow, this road always does put a smile on my face. It is just beautiful down here. And now we're down off them back roads from the Langdale Valley. We're on the more major Honister to Ambleside road. Going gets a little bit easier for a short space of time before, of course, in true Fred Whitton style, the climbing really ramps up again. Well, my Garmin's just popped up warning me of a pretty major climb approaching, and it's one you've seen on the channel before. Of course, it is the struggle reaching up out of the town of Ambleside. It is one known for its absolutely fierce gradients and obviously of national hill climb fame. And whilst not traditionally on the Fred Whitton route, this year it is on the official route, due to a landslide on the usual route up the Kirkstone Pass. So yeah, I actually think the proper Fred has improved its route this year, but despite being shorter than the Kirkstone Pass route, I think this is definitely the harder, but far more iconic climb. Let's go. I'm definitely going to take it at a far more moderate pace today than I did when I raced the hill climb here in September. If you want to see an all-out effort up this climb, go check out that video, which I will leave linked below. And this is a climb of two parts really. There's this steep wall up out of Ambleside, but then it does ease off in the middle for a while before another big ramp up to the top. I have to say, I'm glad I've got a compact chain set on today, and I'm definitely going to be even more glad of it once we reach the Hardknott Pass. Whoa, look at them views back towards Ambleside and Windermere. It has definitely earned its name as the struggle. How did Andrew Feather do this in under 12 minutes? It's mind-blowing, honestly. Whilst you're not out the woods yet, that is definitely the hardest part of the climb done. And yeah, you get a little bit of a break as the gradient eases off for a little bit. If there's anything I've learned from all my hill climb racing, there's no point smashing huge watts on these little downhills. You really won't gain much. I'm pretty certain this bit is where I kicked far too hard in the hill climb and completely blew my legs early on. It's very tempting to smash 400 watts every time you get to one of these, but you've got to remember there's still like 100 miles to go, so I've got to play it safe. And with that, we have finally conquered the steep bit, and we're on to the nice little section of recovery. If you've been watching any of my content recently, you'll see how bad the weather's been in the UK lately. We have had a massive turn up for the books these last couple of days. And with 1 kilometre to go, we've still got over 100 metres of elevation left. And this is the start of the wall. When I came out here a couple of years ago to watch the National Hill Climb, that really was inspiration to give the hill climbing and even the YouTubing a go. As yeah, that phenomenal atmosphere was really something I wanted a part of. Well, there we go, top of the struggle. We've done it, major climb, number 1 of the day. And yeah, I did have to push a bit up there. It's just that steep, you can't take it easy. But the bike was phenomenal. This is my weapon for today's ride. My trusty Time Alp d'Huez with my Far Sports Evo 5 carbon spoked wheels at just 1200 grams for the pair, and full Dura Ace Di2 with the hooded ultralight carbon crankset. I am midway through testing this Cospo power meter. I've also got my Favero Asiomas on to get some reliable power data today. In terms of saddle for this long ride, of course, it's nothing else other than the trusty SLR Boost Superflow. Yeah, you can't go wrong with this saddle. And up front are my incredible EXS Air Over handlebars with some slightly scrappy bar tape that I need to touch up at some point. In terms of the rubber I've got on this bike, I'm on the Goodyear Eagle Super Sport F1 Rs. Yeah, these are really nice tyres and they are so cheap at the moment. Also, you might notice the very ill-fitted rear through axle. I've got a fun story about how that came on the bike. It involves some cheap Chinese parts failing disastrously on me. And really annoyingly, on the train up here, someone knocked the bike over, causing me to scuff the paintwork. I'm gonna hopefully have to get that resprayed at some point. And that's enough bike chat. Let's jump back on and get descending down towards Ullswater. Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention my gearing. At the rear, I've got an 1130 Dura Ace cassette, and up front, 5034 chain rings. Let's just say, given the gradients today, I'm glad I'm running a compact. In fact, I think gravel gears would be even nicer. Buckle your seatbelts. This is a pretty fast one. You're going to hear this a lot from me, despite spending so much time riding around here. every time it blows me away, this scenery. And there you go, good view of Ullswater there before. Of course we're about to start another climb. Fortunately this one though isn't the toughest climb in the world, or well, at least not too tough by Fred Whitton standards. It's only a couple of K, about 8%. And this road goes up past the stunning Air Force waterfall, which I won't have time to check out today, but is definitely one to go have a look at if you're ever in the area. If you're doing a big endurance ride like this, it is super critical to get the carbs down early, even if you feel like you don't need it. You know, today I'm trying to hit like 60 to 80 grams an hour, which yeah, feels excessive, but when you're trying to train as much as I am, it's mission critical for recovery. It's funny, the Lake District, some parts are absolutely heaving with tourists, and then you come to places like this, and other than that farmer back there, there's barely a soul around. Such a stark contrast to what you'll see in Keswick soon. Up there you can see the behemoth that is Blencathra. Now, as we're rolling into Troutbeck and about to join the A66, or at least you would be if you were following the official Fred Whitton route, we're about to make another little detour. As I don't know about you, but I really don't fancy cycling on that horribly busy main road you can see up ahead. We're going to take a left here, sticking on the lovely quiet Lake District country lanes, even if it means we do have to do a little bit more climbing. And along here you get an even better view of Blencathra and Sharp Edge. But look at this beautiful little country lane. This is what Lake District cycling really is all about. Now, unfortunately, as much as I would have loved to stick to the quiet country farming lanes, there just isn't any other road through this part of the valley. So the A66 it is. As much as I don't think it'd be too bad along here, chopping turns in a bunch in the Fred Whitton, when you're on your own, this really isn't a pleasant road to cycle along, as you can see by the number of cars passing me. Let's get on with this one and get it done nice and quickly. Oh well, this is a turning I've been looking forward to. That's it for the main road now. Onwards to Castle Rigstone Circle and the kind of the back way into Keswick. Look at the cute little lambs. Then look at the steep gradient. Not so cute, eh? See, all the way up to Skidder there and over to your left. Well, that's the Stone Circle. And now we're back off the ancient little lanes and onto the main road down into Keswick, which in my opinion is where the best run of climbs of the entire route begins. And there you can see Bath and Swait. Fun bit of Lake District trivia, Bath and Swait is the only lake that actually officially has lake in its name. All the other ones contain like mere or water in their name instead to represent the fact they're a lake. Now, as we head along the shores of Derwent Water, which must be probably the most common lake name in the UK, we are heading up the Borrowdale Valley, which means only one thing. We have a massive string of 3 major climbs coming up. The Honister Pass, the Newlands Pass, and then Whinlatter, all pretty much back to back. And these have some proper savage, true Lake District gradients on them. But first, we get a lovely little bit of easy riding up the majestic Borrowdale Valley. You know you're in the Lake District when there's swarms of paddle boarders, really, don't you? As much as at times, even on this channel, I can get a bit resentful about how busy the Lake District gets. But I do get it. If you're a city dweller from like London or something, or even from abroad, like, I can see why you want to come out here and experience, like, I guess, the sort of quintessential English countryside for yourself, because it is beautiful. And that up there is the Honister Pass we are now rapidly approaching. It's got a real leg snapping wall at the base, but then isn't too bad later on up the climb. And with an average gradient of 2K 10%, it doesn't really sound all that tough. But this is definitely a real fake news climb, as you can see right now, it's a proper wall here. Definitely don't underestimate this one based on its average gradient. What it does mean is when you're up this steep initial part, it's actually quite easy up to the top. Oh, the fighter jets are coming for us again. Have to do like 350 watts here just to keep the cranks turning. And this is why you've got to save your legs in this ride, because if you bonked or your legs are gone, you're never getting up these sorts of climbs. And there's still harder ones to come. 20% just ticked on the Garmin there. Oh, I'm glad to see that sign. Once you cross that cattle grid, that's the worst done. This climb is about to get a heck of a lot easier. There's only an average gradient of 7% left, which is bliss after that steep wall. And there we go, as we pass the YHA, we're at the top. This is a really stunning descent actually. You can see where all the Via Ferrata is up there. And 25%, use low gear now. Now, while it can be absolutely hellish on a busy day, in my opinion, this like Buttermere and Crummockwater Valley might be one of the most beautiful parts of the entire Lake District when you catch it on a nice quiet day. I absolutely love it down here. But yeah, in the summer, these roads can get absolutely rammed with cars. Now also, if you're wondering why am I so overdressed on quite a nice day today, yesterday when I was out filming Great Dun Fell for a future video, I kind of forgot that the sun can shine in England and went out without any sun cream on and got a little bit sunburnt, so I've decided to cover up as much as possible today. It got pretty hot earlier on in the sun, however, it seems to have cooled off a little bit now with it clouding over. Newlands Pass is approaching. And here we go, back towards Keswick, up the steep old Newlands Pass. This is funny, the bottom of this climb is a real car park. It's just cars always parked all the way along the side of the road up here, and so many of them end up getting stuck in the ditches down the side of the road. But yeah, in my opinion, this is a slightly easier climb than Honister. The gradient's a little bit more steady and a little bit more consistent, right up onto that little col you can see up ahead. And I'm glad to be out of that little car park and back into the wild Lake District. But yeah, jokes aside, all them cars that like get abandoned by the side of the road is actually really quite dangerous. They need emergency service access around here. And as you saw there, when all the cars park and turns it into a really narrow single track road, it's so hard for like mountain rescue vehicles and, you know, other sorts of emergency services to get through. And just like that, that's Newlands Pass done. Definitely a bit easier than Honister, I have to say. And look at that lovely little waterfall. Now for a pretty wild descent though. As we head back down towards Keswick, got to be careful on this one. I have a theory that whoever designed these roads was actually doing an experiment to see how much of a difference you could get between your normalised and average power. You know, the amount of times I'm coasting at 0 watts compared to absolutely grinding at 400. Yeah, it's quite funny really. Honestly, if you're not used to these roads or you're a little bit scared of the gradients, it might actually be quite smart to come out on a gravel bike if you want to attempt to ride like this yourself. Because yeah, the surfaces can get pretty ropey in places, which, you know, when you're going down like a 1 in 4 descent with potholes and gravel everywhere, on a skinny tired road bike, it can get a little bit scary if you're not used to it. And also, that gravel gearing would be nice on the climbs, honestly. And without too much rest down the Newlands Valley, just like that, we're starting Whinlatter Pass. And shout out to my Garmin who thought it's appropriate to tell me just how much slower than Tom Pidcock I am. Now, of course, we're in the Lake District, so none of the climbs are easy, but Whinlatter is definitely a bit easier than some of the major climbs. It's got a slightly shallower gradient, only 3k at about 7%, and crucially it's quite a nice wide road, and I know there's a flat bit part way up too. Even though it might be probably one of the more boring climbs in the lakes, there's something about this one that I really quite like. Maybe it's just my inner gravel racer enjoying being in the like Forestry Commission pine forests. Fun fact, up in that forest up there, in Whinlatter, you'll find probably one of the hardest park runs in the UK. Maybe, who knows, on the channel at some point, I'll crack the running shoes out and give it a go. Right, and here we go. The final ramp of Whinlatter. It's not too steep, let's get it done. And there you have it. That is Whinlatter Pass done. Passing the car park at the top for the mountain bike centre. Now this is where we're going to take a little bit of an experimental detour. I've never actually done this road, so who knows what the surface is going to be like. I think it is a bit of a gated road in places as well. But yeah, we're going to go down to the left here, because the photos I saw on Commute, at least, looked absolutely beautiful. So who knows, this might be a real mistake, but I've got faith in it. Oh yes, with views like that, I could be onto a winner here. Look at this beautiful little lane I found. Maybe loads of you in the comments are like, yeah Tom, everyone knows this road. But yeah, I've never been down this one before. And so far, maybe I'm speaking too soon, but so good. Right over into West Cumbria there. Watch out for that gate. Obviously, always make sure to close gates that you open. Look at that. Absolutely stunning. Oh yes, I think I found a winner there with that little lane. Now, of course, a major event like the Fred definitely couldn't send huge amounts of riders safely down a tight little lane with gates like that. But that is the beauty of doing these things on your own back. You're not held to them same restrictions. Absolutely breathtaking views. And a beautiful little park bench you could have stopped to have your lunch on. Now we are into a real nice section of the ride, round Ullswater, in some of the nicer, quieter parts of the lakes, honestly, round on these sort of western reaches. And I think here is where we rejoin the normal Fred route again. When all these people talk about how, like, England's lost its way and it's nowhere near as beautiful as it used to be, well, they clearly haven't come up north to see them like magic sites around Cumbria. And even better, look how awesomely smooth this tarmac is. Well, just as I was being all positive about the ride, I appear to have got a thorn in my tyre, and yeah, it's time to get the tubeless plugs out, because yeah, that's a little bit annoying. Well, that's puncture repaired. I guess that's certainly right for bragging about how nice that road was before. Must have been a thorn because there was a tiny little prick in my tyre. But yeah, unfortunately the sealant didn't save me today. So the TPU tube's gone in. But at least I had these stunning views while I was doing the tyre repair. Now, as we pass the beautiful shores of Ullswater, we're now entering the sort of West Cumbrian section of this route. And whilst there's none of the big name climbs in this part of the route, it's really not one to underestimate. It is constantly going up and down over some of these lesser known climbs, with still some really savage gradients at times and just some really hard roads. So yeah, this is always, in my opinion, one of the hardest parts of the route and one people massively underestimate. But again, there are some beautiful views, especially further on when we get up things like Cold Fell. Wow, beautiful views down towards Ennerdale now. Now it is time to climb Cold Fell, which is probably the biggest feature of this part of the route. And it's only about 4K at about 5 or 6%, so yeah, nothing too serious. And there you have it, that's pretty much the top of Cold Fell right here. A very remote and pretty windswept feeling place, honestly, but absolutely beautiful. It's way later in the day than I intended right now. I really underestimated how slow all this stopping to film is. It's taken me about 2 hours longer than I expected to get here. So really, we better keep cracking on then. Somehow it's still 27K to the base of Hardknott Pass. And I need to get back to the hostel, pick my bag up, and then ride back out to Windermere Station. I should definitely have enough time, but if anything goes wrong, like another puncture, it could be getting a bit tight. Ah, who doesn't love the idyllic views of a decommissioned nuclear power station, eh? It's a shame I forgot my Geiger counter though. And as we head up the beautiful Eskdale Valley, which is nice and smooth and flat, with these beautiful green meadows around, it means only one thing. It is the calm before the storm that the final boss battle of Hardknott and Wrynose Pass is going to present us. The legs are getting nervous now, because yeah, this is a brutal run of climbs. And in fact, it's not just Hardknott and Wrynose. There are 4 more climbs to go, with 2 extra little ones after we've done the main 2. That's the little rat train. And there you have it. You can see the climb stretching up into the distance ahead of us. It's really getting close now. And as we pass the famous red telephone box, that means only one thing. It's time for Hardknott Pass. Bring it on. With over 3,700 kilojoules in the legs, this could be an interesting effort. I don't think it's going to be a PB, let's say that for certain. If you want to watch me go all out up here though, you'll have to take a look at my video I made a couple of years ago. Actually one of the first videos on the channel, where I absolutely sent it up here on the first iteration of my BMC hill climb machine. Can't believe I once rode up here on a 38.25. That was crazy. So where we're going, all the way up there. Oh, first bad bit done. Now we get a short break. Well, I say a break, it's still climbing. Oh, I think I've had a moment to catch my breath. That's Hardknott Pass done. And I think I probably wasn't all too far off my time when I did an all-out effort up there. Considering I've got my big bag on, all my filming gear, and I'm not the lightest bike in the world. So yeah, and not to mention the over 3,500 kilojoules in the legs. But what a beast of a climb, eh? You've just got to get out here and ride it one day. As much as, yeah, 30% gradients are never fun, there is a real sense of achievement once you get to the top. What is left for the ride? Well, we've got Wrynose Pass, which I always used to be thought was spelt like rhino, like the animal, but it begins with a W because, of course, Cumbria spelling. And then we've still got two more extra climbs. Neither of them two are particularly bad, but they do still have, in classic Lake District fashion, some pretty steep ramps in places. And Wrynose Pass are about to do, well, as you'll see, it slowly turns the screw, increasing the gradient. And by the top, yeah, it's proper Lake District stuff again. You're gonna have a bit of fun watching this scary descent down Hardknott now. It is proper treacherous, so be really careful if you come here yourself. Last time I did this, I was on carbon rims with skinny tyres. Yeah, that was not fun. Look at that valley down behind us. Stunning, isn't it? What an evening to be up here. But we've got some steep gradients still to come. But this tailwind is really coming in clutch now. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the top of the Wrynose Pass. Yeah, I'm starting to feel it now, and sorry my microphone has now run out of battery, so you're done with my rubbish on-camera audio, but yeah, mystical up here. I love it. I'm just in my element. Look at that. A good camp spot. Wow. Doesn't that view make it all worthwhile, hey? Right, it's only a short one, but this is it, the final climb of the day. And just like that, we have crested our final major climb of the day. Let's go. Now it's just a nice, easy sort of 5-kilometre descent into Grasmere, and we're done. Well, I'm not quite done because I've got to ride back to Windermere Station next. Now let's not come a cropper on the last steep descent of the day. And there you have it, we're back in Grasmere, we've done it. Wow, what a ride that was. Even sat here a few days later, I am still absolutely buzzing from it. If anything, it's taught me to have an adventure like that on your bike. You don't need to be part of a major event. Doing it your own way at times can often be even more enjoyable. If you'd like to try my route for yourself, I will leave it linked in the description below. And as you can imagine, based on the runtime of this video, this was an absolute mammoth task to produce, but I loved every minute of it. So I'd really appreciate it if you get active in the comments below, tell me if you enjoyed it, and if you've got any feedback for similar videos in the future. And I'll see you all in the next one.